Potatoes is one of those plants that are both super easy to grow and still really unreliable. It's both one that demands care and can be pretty much ignored at the same time. You can over-fertilize potatoes. I did that my first year. I was so proud of my big plants, but in the soil there was pretty much nothing, no potatoes. Potatoes are also good at catching diseases. Potato blight, rot and scab, to name a few. Since they are related to tomatoes, they could also end up killing off your tomatoes. To combat that, I choose varieties that have a high resistance to the most common diseases. Potatoes also tend to plant themselves, meaning that if you have any tiny potatoes left in the ground, they may start growing, producing potatoes, even a year later. Sometimes, if they are not in the way, I let them grow, but I don't tend to them the way I do my purposely planted potatoes. These often get scab. It's not dangerous and they are still edible, it's just not very nice looking. I also find that they don't produce as much, but that is probably not because it's a volunteer plant, but rather because I don't tend to it the same. On 1 American acre, that is about 4,000 square meters, you can get a harvest of around 20,000 pounds, or 9,071 kilos in metrics. If we translate this to per square meter, that gives us 2.26 kilos per square meter. A simple Google search tells us that if you grow your potatoes in a normal garden bed or commercially, you get between 2 to 5 kilos per square meter, and up to and sometimes above 10 kilos in well-managed raised beds. I don't think I'm any kind of gardening expert. I make mistakes and do stupid things all the time in my garden. And sometimes it's just luck. But this year I feel proud, and I'm sure my raised beds, together with fertilizing and covering between the plants with grass clippings, is the success factor for my harvest. The grass clippings cover the potatoes as they grow, which means that the number of green potatoes I had so far this year has been very few. It also makes it very easy to harvest. So how much was there in my 2.5 square meter bed? Well, in the end, with my first and second harvest totaled, there were 37 kilos, or 14.8 kilos per square meter. I'm really proud of that, and I'm really happy about my harvest. And a tiny bit worried that the rest of the beds will be as prolific, since I don't know where to store it all. Since I don't have an optimal storage place in the basement or root cellar, I will make French fries for the freezer, as well as attempt to make potato flour, since we bake with that and it will be fun to try out. I will store some in the fridge and some in our garage, but I know that by spring they are usually only good for seed potatoes. I know I can't count on this high of a yield from each bed at every harvest ever, but I will celebrate the times that I do get a harvest like this. Summer is not over yet, so I will plant some sweet peas here. I sowed these a couple of weeks ago, and I moved the trellises from the shaded beds where the beans never sprouted, and hopefully we can get a second harvest in this box before the frost sets in. Do you have any innovative ways to preserve potatoes? I'd love to get more tips and ideas on the subject, so don't hesitate to write a comment below. And if you have a vegetable that you have gotten a surprisingly good result growing, share that too, even if it's not from this year. And thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you have a great week.